Hello viewers, welcome to ECE Sradha Ocean. My name is Suresh Kumar. This is the sixth question from GATE 2019 ECE paper. In this question, they given Bode plot of some LTI system and they are asking number of zeros and number of poles. It is very simple question. Why? Because there is a logic that if the slope deviation is plus 20 dB per decade, it represents 1 0. Similarly, if the slope deviation is minus 20 dB per decade, it represents pole. So if we observe the deviations in the slope, we can find the number of poles and number of zeros. From the graph, at 10 H, the slope deviation is here the slope is minus 20 dB and here the slope is 0. Why? Because this line is parallel to the x-axis. When a line is parallel to x-axis, its slope is 0. So the deviation is minus 20 minus 0. That is simply minus 20 dB per decade. So it represents one pole. Similarly, at 10 square H, the slope is minus 60 dB. So the change in slope is minus 60 minus of minus 20. So result is minus 40 dB per decade. So it represents two poles. Similarly, at 10 cube H, the slope is minus 40 dB per decade. So the change is minus 40 minus of minus 60. So it is plus 20 dB per decade. So the plus 20 dB per decade change represents 1 0. Next, at 10 to the power of 4, the slope is again 0. So the change in slope is 0 minus of minus 40, which is equal to plus 40 dB per decade. So it represents two zeros. Next, at 10 to the power of 5, the slope is minus 40 dB per decade. So the change in slope is minus 40 minus 0. So it is simply minus 40 dB per decade. So it represents two poles. At 10 to the power of 6, the slope is minus 60 dB per decade. So the change in slope is minus 60 minus of minus 40. So minus 20 dB per decade is the change. So it represents one pole. So if we count number of poles and number of zeros, first pole 2 poles, so total 3 poles. Next here 2 poles, that means 5 poles, and here 1 pole, so total 6 poles are there. Next, if we count the zeros, here at 10 to the power of 3 1 0 is there, and 10 to the power of 4 2 zeros are there, so total 3 zeros are there. So from the Bode plot we can say that there are 6 poles and 3 zeros. So from the options, if we observe carefully, option B represents 6 poles and 3 zeros. So this is the correct option. Thank you.